TSN, CTV, and Crave.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
All right, here we go. OverDrive, off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, up on TSN 2, up on YouTube Live later tonight, streaming on Crave. Brian Hayes, O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jonas Siegel of The Athletic in here. How are we feeling this afternoon?
Wow, what a day. What a 24, 48 hours if you're big Keith Tkachuk, huh? Like, what a turn of events. Son gets traded to his other son's team, and then he goes into the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Wow.
Pretty big stuff.
Like, that's just an all-time great 24 hours. Like, they just announced this year's inductees into the Hall of Fame, and Keith Tkachuk, who's been waiting for a long time.
Yeah.
He's been eligible for almost 20 years. And obviously a coincidence, but Brady gets flipped to Florida, which I'm sure Keith is very happy about. And then the next day gets a phone call. Now, maybe he flushed it because it was a Canadian number, right? It was a 416 number.
That's harsh,
So
Hayes.
maybe,
Too soon.
maybe he flushed it. But I'm sure he called back once he listened to the message and found out, hey, I'm going into the Hall of Fame, which means they all got to come up here, right? The Tkachuks have to come up.
Yeah,
they got to
and
be in Ontario.
Congrats to everybody that got inducted,
Absolutely.
including our friend Brian Burke.
Yes.
Well deserved. Very happy for Brian Burke. Patrice Bergeron, Carey Price, Pekka Rinne is another one.
That surprised me a little bit, I got to be honest. Noodles not here today, so he will have his commentary, and I'm sure he will disagree with my point on that, but how Curtis Joseph isn't in there ahead of Pekka Rinne.
Wow, no kidding.
I have no
it's
idea.
like, yeah, if the argument Curtis Joseph, like there's no cups or whatever the argument is, and I still believe the number is 4th wins ever.
Yep.
From a goaltender, and he's still not in there. So I don't care whatever argument you have that he shouldn't be in there. Curtis Joseph should be in the Hall of Fame, and
Absolutely.
It's a joke that he's not.
I agree. But congrats to Pekka Rinne.
Yeah,
and,
congrats to Pekka Rinne, who just all of a sudden vaulted right over him.
Had to get him in.
Had to get him in ahead
Really
of
good
Curtis
goalie.
Can I
Joseph.
just ask you guys about that process? Do you think you just need like one person who's like boosting your case and like in these meetings, just like it has to be Pekka Rinne? Like, do you think you just need like one like crazy backer? Is that how it works?
Probably someone.
But
really close to
I
you.
think about it like this for Cujo's case. If like Pekka Rinne had to wait a year and Cujo went in this year, and then Pekka Rinne the next year, would anyone just be like beside themselves saying, I can't believe that he didn't go in ahead of no one.
Nobody.
Absolutely nobody.
Nobody.
So I can't figure it out, and it bothers me more year after year. And we all know people that we all know the people that are associated. I just strongly disagree that Curtis Joseph, not because I know him, it's just 4th wins all time in goaltending. How many more wins do you got to get?
Yeah, awesome career, awesome goalie. I agree, but also Cindy Curley getting in. She was the captain of the American team back throughout the 80s and early to mid-90s. So it's a really good class, and like you mentioned, Keith Tkachuk is going in, and he had a great career too. Like every year it was, will Tkachuk get in? Will Roenick get in? Will McGillney get in? Will Rod Brindamore get in? You know, there's like, and obviously Roenick recently got in, and obviously Keith Tkachuk is in. So it happens, and every generation has it. And I'm curious, today's not the day to get into this because there's just too much going on. This is for like a July 28th day. I'm going to have a list of the players who are playing in the league right now that will be the future had to wait 15 years to get into the Hall of Fame players. Because that's a great list. It's a great list because there are guys playing right now.
You're predicting they're going to have to wait.
Yes, where they're not quite Hall of Famers.
So can I give you a couple that just come to mind for me right away?
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry.
Bill Kessel.
I love this game. I just want to play it now.
That's a great game.
Brad Marchand.
That's a very good one
Okay.
because I don't know if he's a first ballot guy. For me,
What about
he's really
Phil
close.
Kessel? Phil might be
Great
around
one.
there.
John Tavares.
John, for me, should go in right away. Like, John's a first ballot Hall of Famer for me. Like, he's exceptional status, The juniors, first overall, the points, the production, captain of multiple teams.
But you just said like 50. Is he within 10 years? Is he getting in?
For me, John Tavares is getting in within the first 2 or 3 years.
You're probably right.
Of eligibility. Personally, I think John Tavares, I would put him as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, if there's 4 other, Crosby and Ovechkin, there's other guys, Malkin are all in the same class, then John might have to wait or will probably wait in that scenario. But I think Tavares would get in pretty quickly.
But you're wrong because there's just too many. There's going to be too many guys.
Okay, so maybe John is going to have to wait.
Like Steven
depends
just
on when
another
they
name that comes to
retire.
mind. Like
Yeah.
Steven Stamkos, first ballot.
Stamkos is getting in
Better
very
case.
quickly.
Is Getzlaf in?
I don't know if he's been retired long enough.
Okay.
But he's an example of a guy, borderline guy for me, but I think we'll get in.
Corey Perry.
Corey Perry will get in, I think.
100%.
So
You should just do a whole week
these,
of this.
these are more locks, though. Although maybe some of them will have to wait.
They will.
Yeah,
You
like
can't
some
have
of them
10
will have
people
to
every
wait.
year.
Now, will they wait 15 years, 20 years? That I don't know. You know who, honestly, this is, I think, timely? Brady Tkachuk is a great example. Brady might have to wait 15 years.
He might not get in.
He may not get in. Right now, he's not a Hall of Famer.
No.
But he goes to Florida,
Wins a cup.
wins a cup or two, puts up big numbers, plays until he's 38, and has basically Keith Tkachuk's career with a cup or two and a gold medal. I think the gold medal this year for the Americans is going to boost their resume come Hall of Fame voting time 15 years from now.
I heard you guys last week. It's crazy that Brindamore's not in. He was a defining player of that era.
As a player?
I think
He was
should
not
be
a
in.
defining player.
He
I
won
love
a
Rob
cup. He was a
Brind'Amour.
great defensive forward. I don't know.
He's not a defining player
Okay,
of a generation.
Okay, defining is maybe too
That's strong.
Okay, he's
The
in like the
Brind'Amour
tier
era?
3. Tier 3.
Yeah, the Canes had to chime in today. The bottom line is, I think he's a Hall of Fame player, and you put him up against the numbers and the stats and the accolades of other players, he should be in. And let's close the case on the Hall of Fame debate.
But can we just also point out he's currently coaching? Like, do you think he's going into the Hall of Fame as a coach? Like, he's going to, they're playing next year. They're in Florida next year. Sorry, guys, I'm not going to be here.
But does that mean, like, let's say he retires, I don't know, 15, 20 years from now?
Yeah.
Does that mean he'll only go in as a coach?
As one or the other, I think. You
can't do both?
As far as I know.
There's no combo?
I don't believe so. But again, he's currently coaching. Like Carolina posted, hey, put him in. He's a coach.
I think they're talking about the player.
Possibly, but that's not kind of the indication in that tweet. Anyway, we love Rob Brind'Amour. I think he's got a Hall of Fame resume his whole career, clearly, but he's got to wait. Anyway, good to see you, Jonas. Noodles will be back tomorrow, right? Noodles
Let's slam the goalies then.
Well, I want to get to the Brady Tkachuk stuff, but I'll begin with Sergei Bobrovsky to the Maple Leafs. Have you written about that yet? Because there are some rumors out there that the Leafs could be kicking tires if he's not going to return to Florida.
I have a free agents that I like for the Leafs. He did not make the 10 that I have.
Okay, how would you respond, though, if it happened?
It depends what the contract is.
What
Let's say
do
it's
you think
reasonable.
the contract would be?
I have no idea.
But let's, for argument's
Tell me,
sake,
give me an idea what the contract
it's
is.
3 years, $7 million per. Don't like it.
Like he's old. Like and he wasn't good last year. Like the team wasn't good, so I don't know what to make of that. I don't know. I probably wouldn't like that.
Yeah,
Just because you have cap space doesn't mean you
nervous
should
about it.
spend it stupidly. Like,
well,
that
I'm
just-
nervous about it because he'll be 38 in September.
And I still think Woll can be pretty good. Like,
But
I
he's
don't
not
think
here. Joseph Woll's not here.
I know, but that's like part of the exchange that you're going to end up making, right?
I know, but that ship has sailed. Like, you made your
Agree,
decision.
but-
Wall is gone.
Okay.
But I understand what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like that's the trade you're making. I don't.
Well, they've made that choice. But what else is the trade they're going to make?
Well,
like, I don't see Stolarz, Hildeby, Okhtyamov
I would
getting them to the playoffs. I think that's tough.
agree.
Be risky. Be risky. Like, some people were telling me, just run, like, just the stuff I hear on the streets. Like, just Hildeby and Okhtyamov, that should be the twosome moving forward. And
Oh,
it's
my
like,
God.
okay, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
but
should
you're
do-
right. Is it going to be Bobrovsky? I don't know who it's going to be, but there might be some other goaltender coming into the situation.
I think there has to be. And I that may include Stolarz going out. But if you're going to replace him, it's someone who you think can start 50 games.
Yeah.
Like, I
don't know
can live with a true number one in Hildeby as your backup. I can't live with Stolarz and Hildeby as your tandem when Stolarz is just not going to start more than 30 games or 35 games.
Correct.
Like, he's just not going to do it. And then you're relying on 40 to 50 from Hildeby, who I think has potential, but he's a raw, young goaltender in the league.
Yes.
That's just asking way too much. So
Do you guys actually think that the Florida Panthers, like, are willing to try to run it back, and they've just brought in Brady Tkachuk? Like, if you look at the way that the configuration of their forward line, pretty stacked.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to talk about a forward group and a defensive core that's meant, like, or built to win a championship, but do you think they're looking at this situation without Bobrovsky in it? Like, do you not think they're going to make it work with him? Because he's been so important, and I know he did not have a great year, and I know he's older. But if he's not going to be the guy that gets the job done in net, who are they going to get to do the job?
Well, maybe
Spencer Knight went to Chicago.
Maybe the guy in Winnipeg.
Would it scare you at all if they were just like, we're good? Like, does that set off an alarm for you at all?
What does that even mean?
Like,
They're
if Florida
good.
is just like, yeah, I think we're ready to turn the page.
To Bob?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
like,
the way
wouldn't that freak you out a little
Yeah.
bit? Like, why are they?
I mean, we asked the same questions with Radish, right? Like, why would Tampa
But it
not-
sounds like Tampa was actually like talking about bringing him back at a certain number.
Yes, and now maybe Florida's trying to do the same thing. Maybe he's pushing, but I could see there being an issue there where Bob is saying, "You just look what you just did for Brad Marchand. Why did he get that?
Yeah.
Why did you give him $30 million? Because he
And
said I
that
have to
always
have it."
bugs guys, that someone from another organization just walks onto the scene and gets the money, and you've been there battling and winning championships, and it's like, oh, now my contract's a problem. It
Yeah.
bothers guys.
Totally. I could see that being a problem. But what I think you're driving at, and I agree with, they have a plan, Bill Zito. They're not winging it and getting to July 5th and saying, uh-oh, we forgot the goaltender. We better call around and see what's out there.
I totally agree with that.
They have a plan. Whether
Well-
it's Bob coming back, Hellebuck being acquired, I have no idea how they'd have the pieces to pay for that. But you talk about an explosion where, again, there's a lot of animosity to this Tkachuk trade for a variety of reasons.
I don't understand the animosity. You can go ahead and explain what your definition of the animosity is, and I'll give you my thoughts on it.
Okay. Well, I mean, he bailed on them. He demanded a trade, right? And after a month or two ago, he was whining about how everyone's bugging him about wanting out, which was completely disingenuous. When he came up and claimed that it's frustrating, people keep talking. I'm committed to Ottawa. No, you aren't. And he wasn't then. He was out. He was gone. So completely disingenuous, the press conference he had 2 months ago. There's no disputing that, There's no arguing against it. He was gone.
There is no disputing that, and it is disingenuous, and I don't like the fact that he went there and said, I don't know where that's coming from. It never came from my mouth, and now we're sitting here today. But the one thing people have to understand, and some guy sent me a note on Twitter, and he said, I hope you rip Brady Tkachuk today for, what happened in him going to the Florida Panthers. Well, what happens if Steve Staios and the organization wanted a different player, some kind of what they deemed as an upgrade on Brady Tkachuk, and they said, Brady, you're out, and he wanted to stay, and we're bringing in David Pasternak and somebody else. Would the same guy say to me, you better rip Steve Staios for what he did? There's no loyalty in professional sports at all. There isn't. If there's an upgrade or something else available to an organization, they're going to pull the trigger on it. And now it's flipped where the players, and Frank Corrado described it in a tweet perfectly, now the script is flipped, and now the players are saying, we got 10 years, 12 years, and we're going to do what we want. We're not just going to say, okay, we got drafted to this organization. I'm on a long-term contract. I'm from the States. I'm living in Canada. They're doing what they want, and there's no loyalty either way. Teams will get rid of you in a second, and players will just say, you know what, I'm not into this. I want to go play with my brother, or I want to play in the United States, and I want to do what I want to do. And I don't blame them for that, because my dad told me when I left my house to play in the NHL, and I will say this, it was different then, because I was like, I got drafted, I'm very honored, I'm loyal to my team, and quite frankly, I didn't have the power to do anything else. I wasn't a good enough player at a young age to say, you know what, I'm done here, I want to go play somewhere else. But he's like, You're a piece of meat to the organization, and for the most part you are. You go and do your thing, and all they care about winning. And as I just mentioned, at any time the organization could say, we want something different, and you're out. How many times you seen a guy get drafted, he goes up on stage, and they shake your hand, oh, we love you, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and a month later they're involved in a package that brings in a great veteran player because they wanted the kid that they just drafted that they loved. There's no loyalty, man. That's it. It's cutthroat, and everyone talks about Kelly McCrimmon and the Vegas Golden Knights being ruthless. Julian Breezeball in Tampa being ruthless. They make ruthless decisions. Now players are doing the same thing, and I don't blame them one bit. You get one career, and if you have the ability and the power to dictate what you want to do for the 10 or 12 years that you get to play in the NHL, I don't blame them one bit. So if I get it, if you're an Ottawa Senators fan, you're probably pissed off right now. Because as you just mentioned, you described it as he bailed on the team. I look at it as a situation where he had an opportunity to say, I want to go join my brother down in Florida. And for the Ottawa Senators, you didn't win with Brady Tkachuk. And Steve Stales got some assets. He's got to flip that around and do something and try to do something better. So it can't be worse. They didn't win with them. They couldn't get out of the first round.
Well, I mean, they're obviously worse today than they were 2 days ago. I mean, I don't. Here's where I stand on a couple of things you just said. Some of it, I think the angst is against the Ottawa Senators, because you referenced a team that has taken up more oxygen in this league over the last 10 years than anyone else, and they've only been around for 10 years, and that's Vegas. Vegas just told a team in their division, no. Edmonton called up, so we want to interview Bruce Cassidy. No, not happening. And was it applauded? Absolutely. Everything you just said there was echoed to Vegas. Why? Ruthless. And then Ottawa goes and capitulates to Brady Tkachuk and goes, fine, we'll send you to Florida. Do you know what Florida's plan is next year? They're not chasing Montreal down. They're not chasing Tampa. I'm not sure they even care about Buffalo. They're chasing the team that backdoored into the playoffs, the Ottawa Senators. And so you referenced, yeah, it's a players' league. They're ruthless too. The reality is it's actually not. It's flipped too far the other way, because these guys they all have no movement clauses. They all have no trade clauses.
Well, wait a second.
So
Sorry,
Brady,
who hands those out?
The team does. Yes, I get it, but everyone's got them. And that's the reality is every team does it now, because literally every team does it. And it's on the league to figure that out. I think it's a serious issue that the league has to rectify, because everyone's saying right now, and believe me, I've been an advocate for movement in the league, but it's got to be equal. If you look, everyone's referencing the NBA. Let me quickly finish this point.
That's how everyone's describing it. It's the NBA now.
It's not. It's a false equivalency. Do you know how many people in the NBA have a no trade clause? Two players. Do you think Luka Doncic had one? No, he didn't. Brady Tkachuk is not a power broker in the league. If Connor McDavid goes, I want out and I'm going to Florida, you're like LeBron, man. I can't really argue against this. This is like Austin Reeves saying, I'm only going here. This is Julius Randle saying, nope, only going to this team, and then the team actually buckling and saying, okay, fine. Like, I look at Ottawa. I'd be pissed if I was an Ottawa fan at the front office. How you didn't get Anton Lundell, or at a minimum that 2029 pick completely unprotected, is a joke. Like, you didn't have to capitulate to this guy. He has 2 years left. You want out? All right, we'll see. We're not just sending you to Florida. Like, how dare you just go to Florida? Why? Because Matthews down there? So what? We paid you. You got a contract. You can ask out, and we might conclude we have to get you out because now it's poisoned, and it probably was going to be. But you got to give me more teams, and you got to allow me to flip you to a number of spots where we get equal value. And I just don't see that being the case here.
Well, that's something the league's got to look at then, because if you're going to have a situation where it seems like all these guys have come together, whether it be any player, American, Canadian, European, whatever, and it's like, I don't know, Mini must have a hell of a program, because they've thrown themselves in the mix. It's like Mini, Vegas, Tampa, Florida, and whoever else the five, and it's like that's Vegas. Where we'll go. It's like. Yeah. So the league's going to have to look at this and say, how are we going to maintain a competitive balance where all of a sudden alarm bells are going off in players' heads now, where it's like, well, I guess that's all you have to do. You just say, I want out, and basically that's the team I want to. Or maybe you could just, you got to do your homework and find out the teams that don't have the assets to get the deal done, and you just throw them in there too.
Well,
because you just know they can't get it done.
And that's what I think there's some gratuitous, hey, well, we'll sprinkle these couple teams in there too. But Steo said it at the presser. He's like, basically it was Florida. That's the only place he was going to go to. So, again, I understand what you're saying. If I'm Brady Tkachuk, I'm living my life. You're in South Florida now. You're playing with Matthew. The reality is what has changed this whole conversation too, but it's also not exclusive to Canada, but there's an element of I don't want to play in Canada anymore, which is concerning, right? And I think should be concerning for the league. I don't have an answer on how you address it. Can't force it. You can't bring warm weather up here. You're not going to get the government to change taxes. And the reality is if an American is an American, this is always a foreign country. Doesn't mean they don't love it. Doesn't mean they're not comfortable up here. It's not their home. But it's not exclusive to the Canadian teams in terms of Florida and Vegas, maybe Tampa, maybe a couple other teams. The Rangers aren't in on this. The Bruins aren't in on this. Detroit's not in on this. Chicago's not in on this. Buffalo just had a magical year, first time in 15 years. They're not in on any of this. Some big hockey markets in the States are also not in on this.
And Steve Staios said it in his presser. He was like, I would have liked to seen this through. And going back to the Stanley Cup Finals, Brian, you mentioned Jordan Staal in some of his comments where he said, some guys want to jump ship. And we talked about Jordan Staal, how big of an impact he was in the playoffs and how Vegas viewed him. And they said time after time, we're having a big-time problem with Jordan Staal.
Yeah.
And we said all these teams in free agency are going to look at and say, who's going to be the Jordan Staal we can find, the big guy to go in front of the net and bang home goals? Well, guess who that could have been for the Ottawa Senators? Brady Tkachuk.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Jonas, where do you
I got to tell you, your two arguments, if you guys ever go into the Hall of Fame, those are your arguments. Because you both make great points. I actually think I more agree with Jeff than I do with you. Not surprising. Actually, that is kind of surprising. I just think there's been a double standard that he's talking about forever, and we've always just kind of ignored it. We're always just like, yeah, it's cool for the team to trade you whenever they want, but when the player doesn't want to be there, it's like, oh my God, how could he possibly do it?
How disrespectful. How can we never say that about GMs? I can't believe that he screwed that player.
Here, quickly here. One thing, I will say this. I think it's beyond egregious for any athlete to consider themselves a piece of meat. You're millionaires.
Okay,
you're treated like gold. Like you're not,
but it's still your life. Like if
I understand
you
that,
can
but
still
this
just be
idea
sent
that
anywhere, and
this idea that it's like you be here at 2 a.m, you're going to clean up the room. Like let's relax.
Maybe piece of meat is an aggressive term, and it could be interchangeable piece.
But it was like 80-20 before, and now it's maybe closer to 50-50. You probably think it's 60-40.
No, I'm like this is very new in the NHL. It's Quinn Hughes,
but it's not.
Brady
I think
Tkachuk.
I think it's probably for the better. It also makes the league more interesting. Like we have trades now, we have some intrigue. Players aren't just going to sit tight and be
100%.
And then you have players who trust their teams to make good moves. And like look what happened with McDavid. Like, do you like the things that they've?
What about this element of it, guys? What about Brady Tkachuk and the idea of? And I know I just mentioned the words from Steve Staios where he talked about seeing it through. What about his belief in that happening? 2 first-round appearances after not making the playoffs in a long time, and they lost in the first round both times. Second time around was a 4-game sweep to the Carolina Hurricanes. Maybe there was a belief there that he just didn't know if that was good. And I know, Brian, you talked about jumping ship and sticking with it. Maybe there's a belief that he feels like he's got a better chance of winning Florida.
Well,
blame him?
You can't. That's the elephant in the room is that if you're talking about winning, going to Florida or Vegas is a very smart decision.
So maybe it's as simple as that, as opposed to just...
It's the same in Vancouver. Like, if Vancouver wasn't a tire fire, do you think he was asking out? Like, maybe, but that's
the
fire.
The great unknown. Listen, they're all different situations. Quinn Hughes left Vancouver as the worst team in the league by a long shot. Now, Rutherford came out after and said, we've known forever. It didn't matter. He was gone. Who knows? Dylan Larkin hasn't been in the playoffs in 10 years.
Yeah.
He's from Michigan.
An American, yeah.
And an American. So you can't play it's that he's living in a foreign country thing or a taxes thing or whatever. He wants out. Brady, though, to me, it's like you just made the playoffs the last 2 years. Ottawa's not some tire fire. They're a pretty well run, pretty good competitive
Two first
team.
round exits. Like if you're trying to win, I don't know.
Okay, but Jonas, like one team wins every year.
But they're not. Like you can't say they're close, can you?
They're closer than 20 other teams.
But not that team.
Okay, but again, that's a separate
Or the
thing.
other teams.
So then why doesn't McKinnon want out?
Because they're really good.
Are they
every
better
year?
than Florida? They haven't won a cup. Florida won
I mean, they
recently.
just won the President's Trophy. They're pretty good. I don't know. Like, come on. Like they're in the
Hellebuck,
mix.
they won the President's Trophy 2 years ago in Winnipeg.
And then had a terrible year. I don't know.
I know, but you can't,
know your
my point is you can't
They've
use
also
the
had no
argument
playoff
that
success either.
Because of Hellebuck.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's amazing.
Yeah.
If I'm in Winnipeg, I'm looking at this saying, wait a minute, you've been horrendous in the playoffs when we get there, but now it's our fault? Like, and now we're the ones that need to placate you if that's true and he's going to want out? Florida they don't have to explain themselves at all, nor does Vegas. They're incredibly well-run organizations. And you know what they have going for them? And this would be what I would want to get to if I'm running a team right now, anywhere else in the league. This isn't just Canadian teams. I'm talking teams throughout the league, including the American teams. You need your players to recruit for you. Matthew Tkachuk is the best hype man in the NHL.
That's kind of a one-on-one.
I get the impression Eichel's doing it. What did Mitch Marner say when he came back from the Four Nations? Who was he talking to? Mark Stone.
That's a complicated situation.
Mark Stone. What's it like in Vegas? What do you make of it? You don't think Mark Stone was leaning on him? 100% he was. They have players that are pumping the tires of the team, the market, the lifestyle. You got to get your players to do it. You got to get them to
don't you
recruit.
think that, Jeff would know. Doesn't that stuff just happen naturally? If a team is good and having success and has a good culture, a good room, aren't you just going to be like, what's it like in Carolina? Oh, it's amazing.
I think people are asking.
But if they ask Quinn Hughes, what's it like in Vancouver right now? Oh my God, it's great.
Well, he's obviously gone, but
you don't even get if the team's garbage. You don't even get to the culture.
That's the whole point.
Yeah,
no one's
you're
asking.
just like this team sucks. Why would I even care about the
no
culture?
one's wasting their time on questions
it's
like
like
that.
if you see a rusty old piece of junk car in the lot, you're like, you don't ask how the sound system is inside of it.
Right.
It's a piece of garbage. But what do you think of Joe from the Bridges idea saying if you ask out, you've got to void your no movement
But the
clause?
players are never going to accept that. I mean, obviously, like that, it's collectively bargained. Like the reality is, it's got to be something that they bargain.
So we have to talk about this. What do you do?
Because
you said what the league needs to do something. What the hell do you do?
Well, you got to.
You can only have X amount of no movement clauses per
There's
team.
some kind of There's got to be some kind of modification, but that to get through that process involving the PA and the owners, that is
300 players in the league have some form of trade protection. The Oilers just signed guys and gave them like no trade clauses, like Connor Murphy. Like it's crazy. Anyway, Pierre LeBrun coming up in just over half an hour. Darren Radish coming up. He wants to be up here. He's the newest member of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's going to join us, and we'll ask him all about this, the pursuit of the Leafs, why he wanted to be here, what he expects out of the team this year. Lots of things to get into with Darren. Pierre coming up. Best bet still to come. OverDrive continues up on TSN 2.
Wednesday
Canada is back.
on TSN 1050. Canada takes on Switzerland at BC Place, Vancouver to wrap up the group stage. Coverage starts at 2 p.m. Hear it all on TSN 1050. The FIFA World Cup 2026 lives here. Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Pierre LeBrun coming up. We're tracking the World Cup. We'll get into the U.S. Open. Shout out to everyone's favorite Wyndham Clark for winning his second U.S. Open.
Ridiculous that people couldn't stand that guy. I sent out a tweet to people complaining about him. I'm like, Tiger Woods is playing Grand Theft Auto in a neighborhood, rolling his car, and nobody cares. But this guy broke 2 little pieces of wood in a stall, and they hate him.
It's bizarre. I mean,
bizarre.
It was a really weird weekend down there, like really strange. And the Jays back home and in action tonight. Dylan Cease on the mound. So Bieber will start tomorrow after the rain out yesterday in Chicago. But it's been a crazy few days in the NHL, and the Leafs have been active. They made a trade. They hired someone, then a sign and trade, and they brought in a good Toronto boy, GTHL alum. Here's the newest Maple Leaf, Darren Radish. How you doing, Darren?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Who did you play for, the GTHL?
Played for the Toronto Marlies growing up. Marlboros. There for 7 years.
Yes. So George Bell, was that your home rink or what?
No, it was a Tobico Canlan.
Okay, so you're too young.
Before I got there.
Too young for George Bell. But you referenced that in your press conference today, like playing in that league, being from Toronto, as a reason why you'd want to be here. Like, why is, your history, the way you grew up here in the city, why was that a part of the journey to get back here and ultimately play for the Maple Leafs?
I think, growing up watching them every day, and, you always wanted to be like the guys on TV, and, getting the opportunity to play in the NHL, it's a special one. And I think, every time we do come back to Toronto, it's always fun and it's always special. So, to get to do that every night, it's a dream for me, and, I'm just looking forward to the opportunity.
Darren, what was the first thing that entered your mind, I would assume, when your agent first brought to your attention the possibility of playing in Toronto? Was it just being home, playing in front of friends and family? Was it putting on the jersey? Is it this crazy media that everyone talks about these days? Like, what is the first couple things that entered your mind?
I definitely was thinking about family. The last year has been pretty tough for my family, and my dad was a big part of that. And he always grew up watching hockey and wanted us to play hockey, and it was always a dream of his for us to play in the NHL. And for my brother and I to get there, that's special. But to play for Toronto, it's something that I cherish, and I'm looking forward to living out his dream and getting able to do that.
What do you, just to follow up on that with the media, you played in Tampa. What were the conversations about the media in Tampa versus the Canadian market? Because it's much talked about now with guys playing in Canada and what they have to deal with. Like, what is your interpretation of what both markets can present?
I think they're similar in their own rights. Obviously, hockey's a lot bigger in Canada and in Toronto especially. It's that's what everyone talks about, and rightfully so. It's everyone here loves the game, and everyone wants to see the team do well. So the markets are, like I said, pretty similar in their own rights, but hockey definitely takes the cake here in Toronto.
With Darren Radish. So in terms of Tampa and leaving Tampa, you had such a great year last year. You put up 20-plus goals, 70-plus points. You had been in Tampa now for a while, but what was it about last year that popped for you? What allowed you to kind of explode, especially offensively, the way you did last year?
I think it was just getting the opportunity. Playing on the first power play, getting to play a lot of minutes. That helps, and trying to make sure you're doing the right things, and the opportunity that I got was awesome, and you just try to keep doing try and take it day by day and make sure you're giving the best version of yourself. And I think everything just clicked in Tampa there, and just fortunate to play with a lot of good players.
Well, and your shot is something that, a lot of people buzz about, and it's been well stated. Anyone that's seen you play, they've seen you take clapper after clapper after clapper. But I understand you were talking about this today, that, you're more than just a big shot on the point. Like, do you take offense by the fact that people continue to reference your shot? And, how else would you describe your game beyond that for Leaf fans that are excited to have you in town?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think I'm a two-way defenseman. I take pride in my own end. I like to play in the ozone a lot, but defense comes first. And if you're playing good defense, the offense will come. And I really, like I said, I really take pride in my own end, and I try to start from there.
So we'll get you out of here in terms of. I think something you were saying earlier today, what a lot of people seem to believe could be happening here with the front office, John Chayka and Matt Sundin, how active they could be over the next couple of weeks. Are you anticipating that? Like, is it your understanding the Leafs are going to continue to make moves?
Yeah, I think so. I think, what they envision for this team is to get back to where they want to be. And I think, there might be some change, but, I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, I'm just excited to meet everyone. I'm excited to get to know all the guys and to get down there and, get the season started.
Well, congrats on the deal. Welcome home. It's going to be a lot of fun to see you play as a Maple Leaf starting next year. So enjoy the summer, and we'll catch up again in the fall. Thank you for doing this.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
There's Darren Radish, the newest member of the Maple Leafs.
What's with all the digs at the media, Jeff? Jeez.
It's just topical. It's talked about now because I got Patty Maroon up my rear end about this is all. And I always give it back, but I'm like, I always wonder what the players' thoughts are. That's all. I'm in the media, Jonas.
I know,
Why would I take digs at the media?
Here's another layer to the Tkachuk thing. That, again, goes both ways, because Radish could have stayed in Tampa. He could have gone to a number of teams in the league.
Sure.
He wanted to come up here. And this has been a reality in the league for a long time, is that there is an opportunity for players to be completely anonymous in a number of markets in the United States and live a lifestyle as a multimillionaire without anyone following, knowing you. You walk into a CVS tomorrow and no one knows who you are.
No one.
No one cares who you are.
The other part of that is, if you have a crappy day at work, nobody's asking you, why were you so bad yesterday?
No, and again, the reason for that is, and this is where it falls on deaf ears, because I know there's a lot of Leaf fans, a lot of Canadian hockey fans that are anxious about this. The media this, the media that. The media's got a job. They cover the team. You know why they cover these teams so much? Because they're so popular.
Yes, fans are interested.
If those teams in the U.S. were equally as popular, they would be covered. To the same
Dallas
extent.
Cowboys, the New York
Exactly.
Yankees.
But let me just say this: the Chicago Blackhawks are covered and scrutinized.
Not to the same extent as the Bears. Not the same as the Cubs.
What about the Philadelphia Flyers?
Not like the Eagles. Not like the Phillies. Like,
you're telling me the New York Rangers, like, they don't get covered like the Giants, like the Knicks?
Not even close, dude. Like, not even close. They get covered there. But you go listen to WFAN in New York. Go down and listen to them for 2 weeks. Tell me how often you hear the Rangers. I would guess 0 times in 2 weeks. Now, right now, it's particular because they're talking about the Knicks. The World Cup's in town. But they'd be talking Yankees and Mets every single day. Every single day. You go to Philly right now, they're talking about Jalen Hurts and whether or not he can get back on the saddle next year.
Yeah.
They're not talking about whether or not, the fly, like Porter Martone should be the future captain. That doesn't, and I'm not saying they don't get covered. They do. And there's a lot of incredible journalists and reporters down there that cover them. But it's not with the same passion as it is here, because the Leafs are the Leafs and the Oilers are the Oilers and the Habs are the Habs. Where in Florida, like, you played in Carolina, they cover college basketball more than they did the hockey team, right? Why? Because that's what people wanted more. Like that's
Can I
just
tell
the
you,
reality.
like-
Duke is bigger than the Hurricanes.
From someone who's there every
I just
day.
have to tell my one story again about the one game where I asked the one guy. I came out and he was there, and I don't want to say his name because he's such a great guy. And I said, "Did you think that was a penalty last night? Like where I got tripped there, and they got the puck and he scored the goal?" And he pulled me aside. He goes, "Come here, I want to talk to you." He goes, "Don't tell anyone, but I watched the game from my couch. And I didn't really see the play."
Exactly.
And
exactly.
There would be a lot. I think there was a lot of days where there was no media. Like
Yeah.
nobody wanted to ask any. Like there was nothing. And if you grab the sports page, and it was UNC football, it was NC State football, it was Duke, and then there would be a little blurb on the Canes in the back. Which is just, that's how it was covered when we first got there. Nobody wanted us there originally. We just showed up.
It's because it's supply and demand. That's that, and there's nothing the league can do about that. Like Canada's not going to stop
for people to be interested in your product. Like that's good.
Well, yes, but I want to ask you this because I do think this is where I wonder what Bettman and company are thinking because they're never publicly going to say anything. They're going to, hey, it's a competitive league, and a lot of it is cyclical. I think that's important to point out.
Yes.
Right now, those teams are hot. It'll spin out.
Nobody
the other
wanted
way,
to go to Florida when Florida was bad.
and it'll spin the other way. Vegas, a reckoning is coming at some point. If they're around for the next 100 years, they're not going to be competitive for every single year.
You're not going to go to 3 finals every 7
It's not going to happen
years.
all the time.
Yeah.
So sports is cyclical, but a Canadian team has not won a cup in 33 years. Players are now, through reporting, kind of actively saying, I don't want to be here. This is a cash cow for the league. It's uber popular up here, and if it starts to dampen, that should be concerning for your brand.
It's such a
It should
small.
be very concerning. You look at what's going on with the personnel alone. Quinn Hughes is gone. Brady Tkachuk followed him. Who knows what happens with Hellebuck in Winnipeg. McDavid's got a year and a half left or 2 years on his deal. And then Austin Matthews, it's like, what kind of future are we heading for Canadian markets? And as much as I described, I think the players, you got your career and you go and do what you want. And I'm happy for Brady that he gets to play with his brother and it's great for the family. But Canadian organizations or any other market has got to be saying, okay, we just got to stick to draft and develop, and we got to draft good players and develop them. And Hayes, you've spoken in the past 6 months about how important the draft is for any organization, but how fair is it to an organization? And I understand in pro sports nothing's fair, but you draft a kid and you develop them, and then what? 3 years, it's already started. Cutter Gauthier got drafted by the great Philadelphia Flyers organization. He goes, you know what? Screw it. I'm not playing there.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you going to do? You draft a player, he becomes good, and then all of a sudden you get 2 years out of him, and he's like, I'm out of here. I don't want to play here.
So
it's a tough scene, man.
Totally disagree with you both on this.
Okay, explain yourself.
Okay, number one, it's too small a sample. This is like 3 or 4 players. And some of them are American. One of them's Canadian. You're talking about Connor McDavid's Canadian. He isn't even – anyway, that's one part of it. The other part of it, those teams, generally, if you manage your team well, you'll be successful. Players will want to stay. They haven't been for the better part of a lot of these markets in the last 30 years. Who's been the best-run team in the last 30 years in Canada? And how do they stack up against the best-run teams in the States? They just haven't been that.
Montreal's very well run right now.
Toronto had that.
Toronto had a good
couple
decade
good runs.
of being well run. They couldn't get over the top.
I don't know. It's more about how you run your team.
100%. I agree with you. And ultimately that, I'm sure, would be the message from Bettman to the 7 Canadian owners. Get the right people in there.
Don't suck.
Make smart plays. Don't suck. But I'm talking about the fans here, where if your brand is getting hit or taking shots, that is the job of the commissioner to be concerned with that.
But is the brand taking shots? What
you don't think
mean
hockey
in Canada?
Yeah, you don't think NHL hockey fans in Canada are more rattled today than they have been in a long time?
What if he was Canadian and he just said, I want to leave, and the 4 teams he wanted to go to were all American? Would you feel any different?
Not, but again, he's not. I hear you. But I think we're about to see Hughes, Hellebuck, Tkachuk exit the country.
I think that's around the corner, what Jonas just mentioned. There'll be a Canadian guy that stands up and says, I'm done.
Yep. Yeah. But I'm not even talking about the players, because you can't control that if you're the league. You can't.
I don't think you can control this at all. What are you going to do?
So then, what is your message to Canadian fans?
Be better.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, to
great.
the fans,
Be better.
to the fans. I don't know. What do you say to the fans?
The Winnipeg Jets won the President's Trophy 2 years ago. What are you going to say
but
to
as
them?
you guys
Be better?
You guys have told me forever, like, what about the playoffs? We talk about it here
Yeah.
all the time.
I know.
They've had like less success in the playoffs generally than
If
the
he
team
does
here.
walk, he is a fascinating case study because he's the one guy in the playoffs that doesn't play very good, and then all of a sudden he just says, "I'm out too." So that one's interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Pierre LeBrun coming up in 20 minutes.
He'll have some answers.
Yeah. And Radish, interesting. Like, I think they're bracing for the Leafs to remain active here. And
Well, like I'm waiting for the Riley trade and what that looks like, and then the Nyes one. I just think like if I were a Leaf fan, I would be like on pins and needles. Like
about the likelihood of it happening.
yeah, and the likelihood of like it not. I don't know.
Not producing like a
that would
great-
just
There
be
sure is
yeah.
a lot of smoke around that guy for just a good young player who like plays hard,
Yeah.
gets points,
yeah.
goes to the net. Like there's a lot of smoke around that.
Agree.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not smart enough to figure that one out.
Okay. Well, we'll get into that and more coming up. We're marching towards Wednesday, Canada, Switzerland. Can't wait for that match on Wednesday. We're looking forward to it. Jay's back home and in action tonight. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and up on YouTube Live.
NTT IndyCar Series lives on TSN and TSN Plus.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, the Overdrive PGA picks were brought to you by TaylorMade. Built better, core to cover and performance sealed with micro coating. Switch to the all-new TP5 and TP5X at TaylorMadeGolf.ca. You weren't here on Friday, so I took the liberty of taking Wyndham Clark, and I gave you another player who almost won, but he didn't. So I guess
you mean you made an additional pick?
Yeah,
on
the Friday. Yeah, on the Friday. I think I gave you Harry Higgs or something like that, and I took Wyndham. But you know what I noticed? Outside of the fact that the crowds were terrible, like all weekend, they stunk, and then they were just ruthless to an American, which is weird.
Dude, Eamon Lynch, what do you think of this, Hayes? Eamon Lynch on the Golf Channel said Long Island, after the Ryder Cup, after Shinnecock, and there was something else out there along. He said they don't deserve another event. They're they've gone over the top.
Yeah,
they don't deserve it.
I wouldn't disagree. You know, the crowds were brutal, but what stood out to me, you took Scheffler and he finished top 5. I took Sammy Burns, he finished second. Scheffler, to me, what became pretty clear to me this weekend is he's starting to get the Tiger treatment where everyone's just rooting for him to win every week.
Why wouldn't they? I think that's awesome.
I agree with you, but, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Tiger got to a point where everyone went, they just wanted to be able to say, I'm here to see Tiger win.
Yeah.
Scheffler is getting that treatment. He doesn't have the same personality as Tiger. He's nowhere near as animated on the course or as captivating based on just the way Tiger operated and kind of strutted around every course.
But I think they've been looking to gravitate to something, and it's Scotty Scheffler because he's got the game, and he's been winning everything in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, that's the guy now.
Right. It's like I'm openly rooting for Scheffler and rooting against anyone that might stop him.
But
like,
I thought the commentary from the crowd on Wyndham
Sunday
Clark
was outrageous,
embarrassing,
and
cheering bad shots that went in the bunker. That's if I was ever with somebody, I would just walk away and be like, I'm not standing near you. That's disgusting.
When he rolled in that birdie putt on 16, I think it was, he was like screaming. It looked like he looked back at the crowd like, chew on that.
Yeah.
Like it was almost a Shooter McGavin. All right, hour 2 coming up. Pierre LeBrun will join us on Brady Tkachuk going to the Florida Panthers. What else is in store throughout the league? Jay's back in action back home tonight. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
You and I are in a committed, loving relationship. You're sleeping in the tub.
Superman's is alive! I knew you had that dog in you.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hour 2 OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel. Brian Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan. Shout out to Lionel Messi.
Wait, I'm not Jamie Noodles McLennan.
Oh, Jonas Siegel. Sorry, Jonas. I was already thinking of where I was going next. Yeah, no, it wasn't even that. I was glazing over the intro because I was going to get to the Messi conversation, and I blanked on the fact that you're in here instead of Noodles. Sorry, Jonas. My apologies. I think the audience would have picked up on the fact that you're Jonas, not Noodles, but I'm glad that you corrected me on that.
I am a known Vasilevsky backer.
Yes. The Vezina winner.
Yeah.
Right? You've always been a fan.
Pretty good.
Even when he struggled, you were always a big fan. So Jonas Siegel of The Athletic in here. But Messi, 2 more goals at the World Cup. That's 18 career World Cup goals for Lionel Messi. And every time I see this guy play, I wonder, why is he in MLS? Like, how is this guy not in Europe? He's still the best player. And he's just over here with his feet up and making money.
You ever
and
want to
living in
go down
Miami.
an incredible rabbit hole of, like, goals and stuff, like, in the game of soccer? Like, that guy scored some of the most outrageous goals.
Yeah.
Like, the ball handling ability, like, just it's incredible. Like, if you're a fan and you've ever got an hour, just
It's incredible.
go down. Incredible.
He has 5 goals now in 2 matches. Argentina's 2-0. And, like, watching him, he does not defend. It's hysterical to watch. You know, like, if you watch him, the ball could be 5-6 feet away from him. If it's in the
He ain't
midfield,
doing it.
he's not moving. Like, it is hilarious to watch him. If the other team has possession, he is not interested. Like, it's so funny to watch. But the second the ball turns over, he is gone. And it is troubling if you're an opponent trying to defend him. But Messi breaking the World Cup goal record, scoring twice again this afternoon. So France in action tonight. My main man, Erling Haaland, will be in action tonight, right? Norway playing Senegal this evening.
That guy's like a tank, eh?
Yeah, he is. Absolute tank.
He's a freak.
Yeah, he's a freak of nature. And Canada, Switzerland on Wednesday. And I saw someone tweet out that the way things are trending, it's possible, like everyone's trying to determine what the World Cup kind of bracket is going to look like, could get to a round of 16, Argentina versus Portugal, which would be Messi versus Ronaldo. And I think that match would be in Kansas City, of all places. But that's, Arrowhead's a massive stadium. They'd sell a lot of tickets. The tickets would be crazy in terms of the prices. But Canada, Switzerland, and on Wednesday, we still don't really know what's going to happen with Davies and whether or not he's not going to start, unlikely, but maybe he comes into the match late, gets his feet wet before they get into the or beyond the group stage. But the World Cup continuing on TSN, on CTV, and on Crave. Pierre LeBrun coming up here in a moment. Jay's back home and in action tonight. Dylan Cease on the mound. They got a split. Got rained out yesterday. But Shane Bieber returning tomorrow. So he was supposed to make his season debut tonight. Got pushed back a day because they got rained out yesterday.
That always scares me, the pushback. But I guess it was because of the rain out.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It's actually a completely legitimate explanation.
Because any other circumstance, I'd be like, oh, boy. What is that one-day pushback going to turn into?
Yes. What happened here? Why does it have to happen? But Houston in town tonight. So Cease on the mound, and then again Bieber tomorrow. Pierre LeBrun coming up here in a few moments. Yeah, the Brady Tkachuk news, again, it was not a well-kept secret that he might want out, that if he wants out, he's going to want to go to Florida. But the timing of it was surprising.
I know. But, Brian, did you not think when he flew back to Ottawa to address the media and the fan base of Ottawa, did you not think it was all put to bed? I sure as hell did.
But to be fair, what are you supposed to say?
Okay, then just don't fly back there, period. Then.
He's a captain, like you have to.
Yeah, he's
right?
got an obligation, I think, to speak. And I appreciated the fact that he did, because he could have had an answer as to why he wouldn't. Like, we just had our second child, I believe it was. Not going to make it up. Let's do a Zoom call or something. He flew up, spoke to the media.
I guess what he could have done is what Matthews did, which is just say, like, I don't know. I'm going to see.
Well, and he definitely, he could have, he didn't have to play the role of, like, it's so frustrating you keep asking.
Fair.
That is something he could have avoided.
Which is why you always have to take that stuff with a grain of salt. When they're like, yeah, I want to say, who knows?
Okay, so what's the grain of salt if you're a Maple Leaf fan right now with Austin Matthews? How are you reading those tea leaves?
Turnaround. It seems to be trending in a better direction because stuff has actually happened. Like, since the end of the year, when all that stuff was happening, they didn't have a GM, right? That was like, who are they going to hire? They have a GM. Now they have a coach, and they have a coach who he played for. They just added a defenseman who helps him a lot, conceivably. But we'll see.
So you think that, like, if Austin Matthews had some kind of mandate, Jonas, where it was be like, I'd like to see some improvements with the team, Darren Radish, and I don't even remember the name of the guy from Philly that they got. Emil Andre. So you think that's going to get his antennas up to say, okay, let me put the Florida Panthers roster up against ours. I think we're trending in the right direction. The right direction for what?
I think it's a start, but you're right. And that's why I wouldn't jump the gun on anything. Like what if this Nyes trade is just like a disaster? You know what I mean? Like, then what if I'm him? Like, I just think he's going to be watching to see what they do. More stuff has happened since the end of the year when he said, like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, he handled that, I think, about as well as you could without being like.
Okay. So does the organization, would you assume that they're smart enough to understand, and now they're acting in a sense where it's like, we know that this guy might like it and he still might come to us any day now and say, I'm out of here, so we still have to do this? Like, it's a weird way to operate. It really is.
100%. Like, it's awkward. But the moves that they've made are not, we're trying to be good 5 years from now. Like, if they had hired David Carl as their coach, it'd be like you're hiring a first-time coach now? Well, if they had, you know what I mean? Like, if they had traded for Radish is a good example. Like, you sound to be good right now.
Absolutely. The moves, Radish in particular, would indicate they're very comfortable in the idea that Matthews is here and committed to trying to win.
For now.
Sure. I mean, he's got 2 years left on his deal. You can never.
I got to tell you, the name that I think is most interesting that Pierre, we can ask him in his story, that, like, if I was the Leafs, I'd be like all over it, is Werenski.
Zach Werenski.
It was 2 years left on his contract.
So you think he's going to be available?
I don't know.
An American that wants to come north of the border
I don't know.
and play up here? Okay. Let's bring in our TSN Hockey Insider joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Here's Pierre LeBrun. Pierre, Werenski to the Leafs. Your thoughts?
You guys are just trying to radio me on one of my last appearances of the year.
Reasonable question.
No, listen. I reported this a couple of times. I know it rankled a lot of people in Columbus, and that wasn't the intent. But a lot of teams around the league are keeping a close eye on where that's headed for Zach Werenski. He has not officially asked for a trade. I think that's important to note, but there are certainly indications that him and his camp, his agent Judd Moldover, are having conversations about what the future looks like. He's got 2 years left on his deal. This certainly could be a thing that plays out over another 12 months because he has 2 years on his deal. But I think it's certainly very possible that at some point before the end of the summer that it's communicated maybe to Columbus that, hey, we're still going to play hard here, but we don't think we're going to sign an extension. So take that information for what it is.
Okay.
And so that's why so many teams are keeping an eye on it because, I mean, that would be quite an auction in terms of how many teams would want to get in on Zach Werenski, no question about it.
Before I ask this question, I'd like to get Joe from the bridge to maybe center you a little better, Pierre. You look like you're 14 feet tall compared to us.
I like it.
So Brady Tkachuk gets traded. Quinn Hughes is gone. Like we were talking in the first segment, Pierre, Is there
Yeah, I
anything
heard
to be
that.
done about this, or is this just tough luck for teams that are, if you're on that team that one of these players asks out and ultimately gets traded?
Yeah. I mean, I wrote about this today in The Athletic. I mean, I think you guys touched on a lot of the key points. It's so dangerous to just generalize and say this is a symptom, because I think there are a lot of unique situations. I think if you're going to find one overlapping theme in all this, is that all the players in the league want to go to teams that win all the time or have a chance of winning all the time. And yes, it happens to be a lot of them are also in no state income tax states and often warm weather. But I'll say this: like, I know today I was talking to an agent who said that he was surprised to hear from his client that his client wanted Montreal added to his list of places where he wanted to go play. So Montreal now is changing their perception around the league, because now they've had a deep run. They're young. They look like they have a good future. So running a team the right way is still a very important part of this equation. I don't think this is all about no one wants to play in Canada or no one wants to play in certain markets in the U.S. I still think running a good ship like Vegas does, like Florida does, like Dallas does, it's still the number one factor for me. I mean, Mitch Marner doesn't pick Vegas if they're a 500 team. Let's be real.
Yeah, but Pierre, they've made a lot of
chasing it.
transactions and trades. They've made a lot of transactions and trades. Another organization like Buffalo might be to say, we can't be that active because when we go to make the transaction, the guy coming the other way, we're on his list and we can't make the transaction. There's a bunch of other organizations that would love to be as active as Vegas. But guess what? A lot of the players, they say, those are the teams that we're not going to. So you can't be as active as Vegas.
True. And that is true. And the reality is, it's harder for the Winnipeg Jets to get guys, for the Ottawa Senators to get guys, for the Columbus Blue Jackets to get guys. That's the reality. I mean, the salary cap has gone a long way to even the playing field financially, but they're not going to even the playing field in terms of where people want to play and live. I mean, that's still part of all this. And here's the tough part, is that now that the salary cap is escalating in a very dramatic way over the next few years, that is going to add to the have and have-nots too, because not every team is going to stay right at the cap. We've had 2/3 of the league spending to the cap for the last 7-8 years. That's going to diminish. We're going to have a smaller group of teams now being comfortable going at that very high number in 2-3 years. Some teams may even surprise you, by the way, that are talking internally about having a budget suddenly and not being a cap team. So that's going to be a layer on top of all the fact that you got players taking ownership of their careers and wanting to play in certain places. So we're headed in a very interesting era, I think.
Well, to Jeff's point, Pierre, do you think there is anything the league can do now with the no moves, the no trades? Or is it like the genie's out of the box and like there's nothing you can do now, it's gone?
Someone joked with me today, sure, we'll convince, the NHL will convince the NHLPA to get rid of no trades and no moves, and then the NHLPA will turn around and say, fine, let's get rid of the salary cap. I mean, listen, that's an extreme response, but those no trades and no moves those are CBA negotiated items that the PA cares a lot about, that the players care a lot about, because it gives them leverage and protection. I get why that conversation is out there, obviously in the wake of Brady Tkachuk forcing his way to Florida, but good luck getting the PA to relinquish on that. I mean, what would you have to give up if you're the owners to clean the slate on no trade clauses?
Well, maybe the owners just say to their GMs, you're not allowed to give these out anymore. No, like, couldn't you just say no? But then I guess you don't get the player, right? Like,
yes.
That
means you don't get the player in most cases.
Maybe they need to collude.
Your question there, Jonas, because like Nashville, when David Poile was still GM in Nashville, they were the last organization left, as I remember. I remember writing about this. They were the last team left that had no moves other than Pekka Rinne had one, and the rest of the entire roster, no one had one. Like, that was like a culture thing in Nashville. And eventually it broke down because the Predators were not going to get anyone, because the agent's saying, dude, I got 5 other offers and they're all including the no trade, and you guys aren't including the no trade. And it just became a position where the Predators couldn't negotiate against the world that way. So yeah, I think the horses have left the barn on that one.
Pierre, there's a group chat at Hamilton Country Club, Golf and Country Club, that want to know. Richie wants to know. Are you 100% confident, and I said I'd ask you the question, that Austin Matthews will be on the opening night roster for the Toronto Maple Leafs?
I've learned never to embrace 100%, but my understanding is that Austin Matthews intends on being here next year, that more or less has been communicated. Still not in an official way from the agent, John Moldaver, to John Chayka, but in a way in which those guys are having conversations all the time, Chayka and Moldaver, in a way in which that's where it's absolutely pointing, that Matthews will at least give Toronto another year now that he's seen the Leafs offseason play out here with a GM hire, a coach hire, some moves, more moves to come. I think Matthews is I'd put it at, I don't know, 95%. How about that?
Okay. What more moves would you be expecting, Pierre, when it comes to the Maple Leafs?
Yeah, it's interesting. Just a couple hours ago, I was digging in on that a bit, and another team said to me that the Leafs are in on all kinds of things. They're looking to upgrade in goal. They're looking to upgrade on the blue line. They're looking to upgrade up front still. So they've got a lot of balls that they're juggling. And I think John Chayka shared that with the Toronto media last week, that he was a pretty busy guy that way. I think everyone's trying to figure out the Matthew Knies situation. I know that Chayka said that it's most likely that he's going to retain him. I think there are conversations being had there, I will just say. So I'm not saying he's definitely getting dealt, because I don't think that's true, but I will say there's a lot more meat on that bone than not in terms of teams' interest. And it might get to a point where Toronto's no choice but to dig in on those conversations. The teams keep showing how serious they are trying to get Matthew Knies. So yeah, that's one particular item on the list. And of course, Morgan Riley, as Jonas wrote about last week, I mean, he's open to a move. My sense is teams like San Jose and Anaheim would be high on his list of destinations. Certainly, I know for a fact that he sent a Western Conference heavy suggested list to the Leafs. Morgan Riley did. So we'll see what the Leafs can do with that.
What would, like, this Matthew Knies stuff is fascinating because
it really is.
Yeah, everything's like, well, they'd only trade him if they were blown away. So what does that mean? What are they looking for? Because I've heard it's got to be a top 10 pick, or it's got to be a number one defenseman. It's got, like, they have to have an idea of why they would be peddling him. What is your understanding on that front of, like, what would be mandatory in return for the Maple Leafs?
So that's an excellent question, because what I was told today is that it depends on the team you're talking about, that the Leafs have had ideas thrown at them where one team is offering, a really good defenseman. Another team is offering a different type of forward, but another team is offering a futures package. So my sense is the Leafs haven't told teams this is the only thing we're interested in. They're just taking calls and saying, put your best foot forward. Again, I think John Chayka is being genuine when he says it's more likely than not he's keeping Matthew Knies, but he's also taking calls. And again, what I find interesting is that I think the Leafs have had a lot of different type of offers thrown at them, not one generic brand, i.e. Toronto's not going out saying this has to be the exact ask. Mm-hmm. They're listening on different things.
Pierre, there's a group chat at the Winnipeg Golf and Country Club that is wondering and asked me to ask you whether or not you think Connor Hellebuck is still going to be a Winnipeg Jet come opening night next year.
Yeah. I tell you what, when O started that question, by the way, I thought he was going to ask me about Wyndham Clark. I couldn't figure out why everyone hated him so much yesterday on the course.
No kidding.
But then I figured out the background story. That was tough to watch. Listen, Connor Hellebuck is very much open to a change. I mean, that's hardly breaking news. But I think to the point where, I think he'll work with the Jets. He's got control with a no trade, but I think he'll be pretty flexible so that the Jets can try and maximize his value. That's my understanding. I will tell you that for sure the Florida Panthers continue to hover around him. I don't know now that they've spent a lot of assets on Brady Tkachuk if they can pull it off anymore. And the reason for that is I just don't think the Florida Panthers will trade Anton Lundell. Anton Lundell is a guy that Ottawa originally wanted in those conversations with Florida. And the Panthers just stayed absolutely 100%, no-fly zone on Anton Lundell. The Panthers view him as a number one center, even though they have Sasha Barkov. They feel they have two number one centers. And so, Winnipeg's looking for a number two center. I just think Florida will not include Lundell in any Hellebuck deal. So it would have to somehow be packaged differently. And I don't know that Florida can pull that off. But I don't know. Bill Cito keeps adding superstar after superstar, so I shouldn't put it past them. But there are other teams that have interest in Hellebuck. So that's an incredibly fascinating one to me because I know, you talked about Hellebuck's struggles in the past in the playoffs. But believe me, teams still view him as a top 5 guy, and at $8.5 million a year with term, that's seen as a heck of a contract now with the salary cap escalating. So we'll see where that trade goes. But for Winnipeg, they need a second line center out of that, I think, and they need plus for them to be comfortable moving him.
Pierre, you mentioned the Sens. What do you think they do now?
Yeah, listen. Steve Stais, there's no way Ottawa wants to go backwards here and get younger and back up in terms of not being a playoff team like they've been the last 2 years. They want to turn around, use some of these picks and get players. I know that it's been speculated out there about Jason Robertson in Dallas. My understanding is I don't think Robertson would sign in Ottawa. Listen, that could change, but my sense is I don't view Robertson as a realistic fit for Ottawa. So where does Ottawa?
Why is
go?
Robertson not a fit in Dallas? Am I missing something with that guy?
Well, no, you're not missing anything other than clearly. Listen, my understanding is they had, they really tried to go at it last week in contract talks, and obviously didn't get it done. So, they are not on the same field in terms of what a contract looks like for Jason Robertson. So that could change. But if he gets dealt, and believe me, in the last 24 to 48 hours, Dallas has taken more and more calls on him. If he gets dealt, it's purely because his ask was not something Dallas felt could work with their payroll. Do
you have any idea what his ask is?
I'm not criticizing. I don't know exactly, but it's. I think it would open your eyes. It was described to me. And listen, I don't begrudge agents with star players like this. The cap is exploding, and I think everyone's trying to get comfortable with, like the Buffalo Sabres would have loved to have re-signed Alex Tuch. And by the way, maybe they do at the 11th hour before next Wednesday. But the gap forever there was that Alex Tuch and his camp, led by the Bartlett family, they looked at Adrian Kempe's deal in LA, which is, I think, $10.25 million a year, and saw a pretty good comparable. And of course, Buffalo looked at Nick Schmaltz's 8x8 in Utah, and they saw. So, you understand where everyone is in this new world and why agents are trying to maximize what they can get for their players. But, I think Alex Tuch thinks for sure he's getting double digits on the open market per year. And I think for Jason Robertson, I think they're, and by the way, remember, they changed agents, Jason Robertson did. And so whenever that happens, it's about two things. It's either about, I want to shoot for the moon on my next deal, or I want to get traded. In this case, I think it's shoot for the moon. Like, I think he wants to stay in Dallas, but ironically enough, it might get him traded.
With Pierre LeBrun, our hockey insider. So I got to keep this bit going.
Is this a phone friend?
A country club.
Yeah, the Surrey Golf and Country Club sent me a text and said Elias Pettersson wanted to ask Pierre if Pettersson is going to be a Vancouver Canuck as of opening night next year. So go ahead, Pierre. Can you answer that for the boys out west?
I mean, listen, not if the Canucks have their way. I think they would love to be creative and find a way to work with a team to move him. But, boy, I've asked a lot of teams about what kind of world would it take for you to take that on, long term at north of $11 million a year. Obviously, the Canucks would have to eat. But it's not just about that. It's teams worried that Pettersson looks content. There's a concern about, I think, how hard he wants to work. And listen, this is the danger with 8-year deals, by the way. Not every single player in the league is going to be Sidney Crosby and pretend that he's a fourth-line center working for his job. Money changes some people, and I think there's concern about how much of the former EP40 that even a fresh start can deliver. So I think it's more likely than not he's still in Vancouver, but not because the Canucks won't try everything to find a way to move him.
Yeah. You think the Matt Sundin angle factors in there, Jonas, at all?
I was just thinking, if they ate half, would I think about it?
And
I probably would think
with Sundin, with Willie here, is there an element to,
if they just gave him away and retained half?
Yeah. Although at the same time, the Sedins are running things in Vancouver, so you'd think if anyone could get to them, it
Swedish
would be
war.
Right. And they've been there the whole time, too.
Right. And it hasn't mattered. Yeah, you're right. Lastly, Pierre, obviously the news of the day is Ottawa, Florida. We talked about Hellebuck. But where does Sergei Bobrovsky come into play on things?
Yeah, so the Florida Panthers have not closed the door there. They're still trying like heck to re-sign him. It's absolutely mind-boggling to me, by the way, that this has played out this way with Bobrovsky and the Panthers. I mean, you want to talk about the perfect fit. Remember, Bobrovsky left Columbus. He wanted to go to Florida. He got the contract he wanted, $10 million a year. He's won 2 cups. Every time I see the guy, during the last couple of cup finals, he seems like the happiest man alive being a Florida Panther. It boggles my mind that there is no extension in place so far for Sergei Bobrovsky in Florida. And listen, again, it has to do, my understanding is, with quite the ask from his agent at the start of these negotiations. But the Panthers are still trying to sign him. He turns 38 in September. But in the meantime, the Panthers have Plan B, Plan C, Plan D. Like I said, they're staying in touch with Winnipeg on Hellebuck, and then there are other goalie targets that they have, and I think some actually might be surprising. So Florida has a plan. It's just not clear, I think, where it's going to end up. But it starts with making sure for sure that the door's closed or not with Bobrovsky. They'd love to find a way between now and next Tuesday at midnight before the Wednesday market to reel him back in, but they may not. He may go to market, and then the Panthers have to go to Plan B.
Great stuff, Pierre. Awesome catching up with you, buddy. We'll do it again real soon.
Right on. We'll chat probably next week before July 1st.
You got it. 100%. There he is, Pierre LeBrun, our TSN Hockey Insider, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. It's time to Toyota. Check out the Toyota Tacoma and Toyota Tundra pickup trucks, both available as hybrids. Maple Toyota near Canada's Wonderland of the Maple Auto Mall. Lots to chew on there. There's a lot going on in the league right now in terms
There is. Noodles might be right because he's been promising. I think it's going to get crazy.
Yeah.
Brady Tkachuk's pretty crazy, but can there be craziness to follow that?
I think it's possible. I think, honestly, it is possible. Yeah, we'll see. There's a lot going on, and free agency doesn't open up for over a week. It's June 22nd. We're not even at the draft. That's the amazing thing. At least have the first pick overall in a few nights.
Yeah.
And it seems like a formality they're going to take McKenna, but you want stop the press news. They get up there and take Chase Reed or something. People are going to. I don't know if they'd freak, but will be stunned. Right? It seems like they're just going to take McKenna.
You would think.
You would think so. Something to chew on brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. Enjoy $15 lunch at BP where you get an entree, a side, and a drink, and you'll get it all in 20 minutes or less. A fast lunch doesn't have to be fast food. See you for a $15 fast lunch at your local Boston Pizza. We've been asking people, and it's overwhelming votes one way over the other. Who wins the Stanley Cup next year, the Florida Panthers or the Field? We'll come back and answer that. We'll get into it and track the Jays back home against Houston tonight and what's going on at the World Cup. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.
Back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Just watch me dance.
All right, so I threw out something to chew on, brought to you by Boston Pizza. Florida Panthers versus the Field to win the Stanley Cup next year. Jonas, how would you vote on that?
I would take the Field.
Take the Field.
I think that's pretty easy.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a good question, though.
Overwhelming votes going to the Field. Now, I should say on FanDuel.
It has to be the Field.
Yes, I think that's smart.
What if you broadened it to Vegas or Florida or the Field?
Vegas, I'm curious about. New coach, rookie head coach in the league.
Fair.
They got red hot to their credit, but didn't have a great season. Older, Florida's got to prove it too again though. Like they're
older players.
They got some older players. They had down years. Who's in net? Like on FanDuel, Carolina and Colorado, I believe, have better odds to win the Stanley Cup.
Carolina's at number 1, I would assume.
Yes, Carolina at number 1 and Colorado at number 2. And then
didn't Brady
Florida
Tkachuk add Carolina into his mix there as far as teams he'd be interested in?
Reportedly. Yeah, reportedly. But in the end, it was Florida. Yeah, I would take the Field too. But Florida, like you look at their mock lineup, it is absurd how good they are.
It is insane.
Like they are. You can say what you want. They have to. Let me clarify. They don't have to apologize for anything. None of this is their problem. Florida, Vegas. If I was a fan of their teams, I'd be ecstatic.
Dude, can you sometimes I just think about it like this, Hayes. And Noodles always talks about it. If you were OverDrive Brian Hayes in South Florida and we were a hockey show down there, you would be you would have this board up going nuts saying, that is the best forward lineup in hockey.
Yes, it is phenomenal. And I was asked today, is this good for hockey? And here's the issue I have with it. Like I said earlier, comparing it to the NBA and super teams and all that, there's 2 players in the NBA that have a no-trade clause. There's 300 in the NHL.
Do you know who they are? I actually do.
Go ahead.
It's unbelievable. Can you guess?
Bradley Beal is one of them.
Yeah.
I remember that historically. And I would have said LeBron, but his deal's up.
No, I'm pretty sure.
It was LeBron? Okay. Which is absurd that Bradley Beal had a no-trade clause. But this is just so hyper-focused on, only going to this one team. Also, the NHL is more regional in the U.S. It's not going to get the national media that there's some super team, Florida Panthers, that apply if the Knicks are great or Golden State or in the NFL if there's a dynasty team. And honestly, and you're going to roll your eyes and say, here we go again. It's lost in a way because of the market it's happening in. Where if this was the Rangers, if it was the Leafs, you can't be this big evil empire if you don't have fans that go anywhere. They don't have fans that even travel barely to Tampa. You're not going to show up at a game. The Yankees, when they're in Boston, Seattle, Arizona, L.A., Miami, there are Yankee fans everywhere. When the Cowboys go anywhere, there are Leaf fans everywhere they play.
Yeah.
You walk
Florida is a unique fan base.
Yes.
They do have a fan base,
sure.
And it's become very popular over the last couple of years. But they when they've had quality teams, they build momentum towards the playoffs, and then all of a sudden it's mayhem.
Yeah.
It's like all these Florida Panther fans are there.
Yes. This past year, there were a lot of games where you watch, there's not a lot of people there. They just went to 3 straight Cup finals.
Yeah.
I get it was a down year, but that's not happening, to that extent at Yankee Stadium, Scotiabank Arena, Cowboys Stadium. If the Cowboys won 2 straight Super Bowls, the next year, you could never get into the building. I don't care if they went 0-17. You couldn't get into the building. So in Florida, it's just, it sounds like a loser's attitude and mentality, but they're the Panthers. They're not an original 6 team. They've
had a really good front office.
They've done a brilliant job. Bill Zito has done an absolutely incredible job.
I don't understand the comment though. It's just the Panther. What are you talking about?
What I mean is, if you think it's good for the league that you have this super team, I don't think it works in the NHL because I don't think you can have this powerful brand throughout the sport when it's the Panthers. I think it's got to be.
If the Rangers were the super
100%. If this was happening with the New York Rangers, Bettman would be laughing down Broadway. and say, man, this is going to be ESPN's picking this up, Fox picking this. They travel everywhere they go. Like, they're an incredibly compelling team. Incredibly compelling. Same with Vegas. But it's just not – there's not enough chops to the market as a hockey market to really make it pop nationally.
I think what they've done
opinion.
there in the last couple of years, this year, everyone in the States with TV and everything will be all in on that Florida Panthers going like
they won't.
Everyone will be all what?
I bet you the Flyers will have more national games than they do. Don't you think?
You're joking.
I'm not
right
joking.
now, right?
I bet the Bruins will have more.
Yeah, they go with the bigger
Blackhawks
markets.
will have for sure.
Detroit, Buffalo will have a lot. Maybe not as. Yeah, they will because Buffalo's
a good young team.
They watch, like they base it on whether or not they think the people are going to tune in.
Yeah,
and that's my point on regional versus national. Like you can have the best player in the NFL play in Kansas City, and everyone's going to watch.
Yeah,
LeBron can be in Cleveland, everyone's going to watch. You can't have. It just doesn't translate. It's kind of similar like in baseball. Now, the Dodgers happen to be in a massive market that works because it's L.A., but if Ohtani was going to the Diamondbacks and then Tucker followed, they'd be like, this is trouble.
He was on the Angels. He was, like, great, but nobody talked about
He's exploded way more because he's with the Dodgers.
Can I ask you guys a spicy question? You just talked about Cup winners for next year.
Mm-hmm.
How would you power rank the Cup winners or the Cup contenders among Canadian teams? Or I could just ask you who, if you had to pick one Canadian team to win the Cup next year, right now, before we see what happens with free agency.
It's clear. It's a very simple answer. It's the Montreal Canadiens because they were the last team standing.
Okay.
And that's crazy to say when another team has the two best players in the world on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Montreal, like Dobish and Fowler as a tandem, is going to win, I think, a lot of games next year.
Yeah.
And they'll probably be active this year. Like they're lurking in the weeds.
Their Noodles is gone. We can say it now, boys. Like you get Mike Babcock in there. I don't care what kind of X's and O's that guy can draw on a chalkboard. They don't get enough saves. They just don't.
Edmonton, you mean? Yeah.
Edmonton Oilers, like they flipped out both of their goaltendings, and it was a complete misfire.
Yeah, they need to figure. And they went and signed Dickinson and Murphy today.
The big deals.
Like they acquired them at the trade deadline, and they're good enough players, good players. But like whenever they make a move, immediately people say, "I wonder what McDavid's thinking right now." You know, Trent Frederick, Murphy, Dickinson,
the goalie trade,
Tristan Jarry. You know, he signed that deal, and the money they used it on those players effectively. And Mike Babcock, which by all accounts he is a supporter of. But yeah, I think Montreal has taken the driver's seat on that front. And then I think Edmonton too. The next one is like, is it still Ottawa? Like Ottawa would be there for me, but I don't know without Tkachuk. I'm curious what Ottawa does now. Like I think they have to be active. I think they've got to swing for the fences and make a trade, like flip the picks or something, because that fan base.
What I just mentioned to Pierre, Brian, they can be active and say, you know what, we can go out and pursue Jason Robertson. And by the way, that guy's probably asking for $13 to $15 million a year. With the point production that guy's put up, that's probably in somewhere the vicinity of his ask.
Totally.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, no, I hear you. You can't do DeBrincat 2.0. Like you can't bring in the American.
So it's easy to
guys
say they got to be aggressive and try to replace Brady Tkachuk. But I talked about it with Pierre. The guys on the other end might be like, that's one of my teams. I don't go there.
Yeah.
So it's awfully difficult to just say, go and get a great player to come there and play.
Well,
and if you start doing stupid stuff like overpaying, it's a dangerous game, man.
I would keep the 9th pick. I'll say that. Like that, we were at the draft when Vancouver and Jersey made the deal. Corey Schneider for, I want to say, the 9th or 10th overall pick. And they took Bo Horvat. It was a great deal for Vancouver. Like he was their captain. Eventually they moved off him. They never should have, but they did. But
is that when Jerry said you're going to want to hear this?
Absolutely. It was in Jersey. It was at the Prudential Center or whatever it was. And that turned into a great deal. If you can pick a really good player at 9, softens everything. It's going to take years for that guy to get there. It's going to take a long time. But you've got the 25th pick. You've got, future picks with these Florida picks coming in. And you went through like a 6-year rebuild, and finally the last 2 years it's popped. You owe it to yourself, the players that are still there, the fan base, Travis Green. You gotta try to improve that team, and I'm sure they're going to try to. But that's the other thing about this deal. Like, they got futures back. They didn't get a player. So I don't know.
I don't know how that works. Like, when you have one team who's like, you're not getting Lundell. Like, can't you just be like, okay, then the conversation's over? Like, what do you do?
That's a lot of thinking.
That's what Vegas would do. Keep bringing that up. Everyone's like, do what Vegas does. Vegas would be like, no, not happening.
Okay, so you're not giving us Lundell, then that pick has to be unprotected.
Exactly, 100% unprotected.
And we don't know what was going on behind the scenes for directions.
For sure, but
that's the only way I could see the conversation going.
I know.
Like, Kachuk is here, but if Lundell's not coming the other way, the conversation's over. So how do you want to handle this?
Well, and let me ask you guys another question. Let's say Hellebuck, you can get Hellebuck for Lundell. Why would you not do that if you're Florida, if you don't have a goalie?
I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't do Lundell for Connor Hellebuck?
I agree. I think Lundell's going to be really good. Artie is really good.
He's not like 20 years
old.
old.
For a 31-year-old goalie, he's not old. Yeah. I wouldn't do that.
Hellebuck's 31, right? I thought he was 33, but he's in his early 30s. He won the Hart and the Vezina 2 years ago.
Yeah. I wouldn't do that, but yeah, you could talk yourself into it. But
so what are you going to do in net?
Jonas isn't the believer of you can have two mids.
Well, you're a Bussy.
I just
Anderson
think goalies
guy for
are Bussy Anderson.
Well,
I just think goalies are impossible to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not giving up my number 2.
Well, he's not a number 1 anyway.
Okay, but
I love Florida. Like, Anton Lundell's a 1. No, he's not.
He's not right now, but
he's not going to be. He's a really good player.
Okay, well, on Toronto, he would be their number 2. So,
okay.
And on most teams, he would be a number 2.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're literally, but you're answering
hey,
he's not a number 1.
You know what the thing that is impossible to get? Centers. Especially number 2 centers. Have you looked at, like, free agency? The Leafs need a number 2 center.
Who's their number 2 center?
There are no centers.
Is it him or Sam Bennett?
It's the same thing.
Okay,
Whatever.
but that's my point. You have Barkov, you have Bennett already.
Right.
Like, if you don't have a goaltender, if Bob leaves, they literally don't have anyone signed.
Yeah, you can trade for someone. You can sign someone else. I don't know.
Okay. All right. I'm just saying. Like,
I just think, like, if I was
Hellebuck.
ranking what's more important, I'd rather have the number 2 center who's like 25 or whatever he is.
Then
like
the number 1 goalie will play 60 games. For
yeah,
you.
but like, okay, it's
you're entitled to your opinion. I'm just asking.
You're right. It's worth thinking about. That's just like my first thought. I would hang up the phone if I was Florida.
Like,
not doing it.
Lundell's a really good player. Like, he's a really good player. He feasted 2 years ago because he was up against weak matchups.
He was not. That's not true.
Marchand was
if
unbelievable.
you watch that Leaf series, he was against Matthews all the time.
You're telling me Barkov and Bennett didn't get a lot of the bigger matchups?
Remember in that series?
That he was unreal.
He was so good.
He was really good, and Marchand
that
was
line
just
was
as
their
good.
best line.
Luosterainen was. It was a great
I'm
line.
going to pull up the numbers just to double check.
Come back from a break and get the numbers, Jonas.
Give me the numbers. I just think it's a little bit out of control.
Florida's
like,
just going to be
Lundell
like,
is all of a sudden
you're not getting
number
Lundell.
1.
No.
Like, where would he rank on that team in terms of value? Like, Barkov's ahead of him.
Okay.
Matthew Tkachuk's ahead of him. Forsling's ahead of him. Sam Reinhart's ahead of him.
Okay.
That's 4.
Maybe next.
So I think Seth Jones might make a case now.
Sure.
Seth Jones. So he's 6th or 7th. Like, that's a testament to how great
But that's
that
also
team is.
today. It's also like 2 years from now, 3 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how old Barkov is.
Well, they clearly have a 3 or 4 year window here where they're like, we are trying to get 1 more. 2 more if we can. And then it's like all bets are off. I don't know. I'm curious where that goes. All right. We'll get to our best bets. Powered by FanDuel. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and up on YouTube Live. right, Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I am the World Cup whisperer, Jonas. I'm sure you're aware of this.
He wants a draw.
No.
He wants a 0-0 draw.
Oh, I'm not looking at 0-0 tonight. This is my spicy parlay.
Jonas, just get ready for this, okay? Go ahead.
Erling Haaland, anytime goal scorer tonight.
Only guy he recognizes.
Parlayed with both teams scoring. Norway, Senegal tonight. Minimum 1-1 game. Minimum. So that's paying plus money. I'd love that action tonight.
So you just want a goal from your boy Erling.
Haaland, yeah. Ernie Haaland.
And then the other both teams got to score a goal.
Yeah, that's right. Ernie Haaland.
Like that. I kind of like that.
It's a great little parlay.
It is. It keeps you just horned up through the whole game.
That's the best part about it. It could cash very early, or you're still alive throughout the whole game. Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Same-game parlays available for every MLB game on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly, 18+, physically located in Ontario. We've got Noodles back tomorrow. I'm sure he'll have a lot to say on the Brady Tkachuk stuff. I mean, he's as close to the Ottawa Senators as you can get. Calls 50-plus games a year. So he will have his views and angles on that and what Ottawa could do in the future and what else. Like, I'm bracing for by tomorrow at 4, probably something else to happen in the NHL. I'm waiting for the NBA. Like, get Giannis traded by now. Like, something's got to happen.
I think the draft is tomorrow.
Yes, NBA draft this week. We got the NHL draft this week. Got Jays Houston tonight. Dylan Cease
Giannis to Toronto?
That could be interesting.
Is that a possibility, Hazy?
I don't think so. It sounds like Boston or bust. Like, that's what everyone.
Miami.
Or Miami, you're right. Like, Boston would be more complicated with, how you make that work. Miami, I could see him wanting to be a part of that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens on those fronts. All right, boys, good stuff. Jonas, great seeing you as always.
Thank you for getting
Jonas Siegel in here from The Athletic. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, and up on YouTube Live on TSN's YouTube channel. Soon to be streaming up on Crave. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
4 p.m.
We'll chat then.
3 nations under God. We don't play, no, we go hard. 21. 3 nations under God. We don't play, no, we go hard.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. We were both off Friday, and Frank told everybody we were on a kite sailing adventure.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. That's not true. We were spear fishing.
Yes. Was that what we were?
Have you ever wanted to do spear fishing?
No.
Not at all?
No fishing.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, no fishing at all?
Fly fishing.
Nothing?
No
You don't
trout
want to stand
fishing.
in the waders and cast off and get a fish?
If I'm on the water, I want it to be the biggest yacht imaginable.
Is that right? So you don't want to actually be near